Hello students, this is Priyanka Bagchi from SVM SINIDIH and I am back with the explanation of the second part of the chapter 3 Questions by Leo Tolstoy. As we have discussed up to the point 8 and I have told you that we will start discussing now from point 9. So the point 9 is this. Evening approached. The king repeated his questions. Means evening was approaching. Means by that time the sun had set and the king had to go back to his palace, to his kingdom. So he thought that one more last chance he would ask the answers to his 3 questions to the hermit. He went to the hermit for asking the answers for the last time. As he started asking the answers to his 3 questions, the hermit saw at a distance and he found that a bearded, wounded man coming towards them. The man was wounded, he was keeping his hands pressed against his stomach and blood was coming out from his stomach. A mysterious bearded and wounded man. That bearded and wounded man came towards them and reaching them, he just fell down on the ground and fainted. The man was wounded and the king and hermit's service to the wounded man. Both the king and the hermit were very much worried about that man, what that man was, what happened to that man. They were worried, but they did not think anything more and started dressing that wounded man. They dressed the man, redressed the man. The king was working very hard to cure the man. He even used his own clothes to stop his bleeding, and he dressed and redressed the man until the bleeding stopped. By that time, the man was feeling a little well, but he was in a subconscious state and he asked for something to drink. The king rushed and he found some water and he gave that water to the man. The man drank and again slept. The king and the hermit, both of them took that man, and with the help of the hermit, the king took that man and went into the hut. Inside the hut, there was only one cot, and there were 3 men, the hermit, the king, and that wounded man. The king thought that the man was wounded and it was very much important for that man to be laid on the cot. So, with the help of the hermit, the king put that man on the cot and he was also tired, so he laid on the ground and slept throughout the night. Coming to the next point, point number 12. In the morning, the king awoke and found the bearded man begging. Okay, so the king was very tired last night. The hermit, it was his duty. He was in the habit of working hard, so he was as usual, normal. The king, because of his tiredness, he slept very well that night. And in the morning, when he awoke a little late, when he opened his eyes, he found that man, that wounded man, was sitting side of his legs, and he was begging from the king. The king said that he did not know the man, and he did not know why that man was asking for forgiveness. That wounded man said that the king might not know him, but he knew everything. He knew the king and he knew everything. And then he revealed why he was asking for the forgiveness of the king. Then he said he was an old enemy of the king. Why he was an enemy? Because it was the king only who put that bearded man's brother to death. And not only that, he snatched he seized all the property of his brother. So from that time only, that bearded man having a revenge, that he would take a revenge on that king one day. So when he came to know that the king was going to meet some hermit deep into the forest, he planned to kill the king. He was coming also, he was very successful in his plan. He was waiting deep into the forest somewhere. He was waiting for the king to go back. But unfortunately, the king did not go back. And when the evening was approaching, the bearded man thought that he himself would come and kill the king. So when he left his hiding place, the bodyguards of the king saw him and they injured him. So this is the story. Coming to the point number 13. The king's happiness of turning an enemy of him into a loyal friend. When the bearded man said everything, revealed all the secrets, all the things going on in his mind, the king became very happy. He was happy because he was able to turn one of his enemies into a friend, that he was able to set peace between them. He was very happy. He promised the wounded man that he would send his own family doctor to serve him, and not only that, he would return all his property which he seized. He would return all those property to his family. This is this point. The king's to send his family doctor and return his property. Listening to this, the bearded man was very happy, and he also promised to the king that until he die, he would serve the king and his family as his most faithful servant, and when he would die, he would tell his sons to serve the king's family. This way, the wounded man was very happy. The king was also very happy. The wounded man bid a farewell to the king and went. Coming to the point number 15. The king's last try for getting his answers from the hermit. So by that time also, on that day, the sun had set, and the king had to get answers to his 3 questions. So he thought that he would take one last chance. He again went to the hermit and he asked the answers to the 3 questions. When he asked again the answers to his 3 questions to the hermit said that he had already got the answers to his 3 questions. To this, the king was surprised, and he said, how is it possible that he had got answers to his 3 questions? Then he reminded the king of the incident last day that had happened. He said, that isn't it? Hadn't you got the answers to his 3 questions? You have got the answers. And then he said that yesterday in the evening, when the king pitied on the hermit, pitied on his weakness and offered his help to the hermit to dig the earth, that was the most important time for him, because this was the time when he had to go back. And had he gone back to his palace, on the way that bearded man, that enemy of that king, was waiting for him to kill him. So on that day, yesterday, had he gone back to his place, the bearded man would have killed him and he would have lost his life. So that time was the most important time for the king. Yesterday, the time had gone. That time was the most important time for the king. At that time, he was helping the hermit. So the most important time at that on that day was the most important man at that day was the hermit. And as the king was offering his help to the hermit, he was helping the hermit. So the most important work for the king at that time was the care and help to the hermit. So answers to his three questions the king got. Then again the hermit told the king that the wounded man came and he was injured and he fainted, and you served him, you dressed him, you redressed him, and you took every good care of him. So for that time it was the most important time when the wounded man came, and the most important person at that time was that wounded man whom you served, and the most important work at that time was the service to that wounded man you had done. So again the answers to your three questions you got. Then the hermit gave the masterpiece of his answers, and he said that the most important time is the present time, the time now, when you have the power to work. The most important person is the person with you at that present time, because no one knows with whom you are going to meet in the future. And the most important job to do good to others, to do good to that person who is with you at that time. This way the answers to all his three questions the king got, and finally he became very happy. He bid a good farewell to the hermit and went back home. So this way the story also finished, and here you can see the three questions are given, that what is the most important time to do anything is now. Who is the most important person to refer to? The person with you. And what is the most important job to do? To do good to the person with you. So this is the great lesson we learnt from this chapter, that the present time is the most important time. The person at that present time with you is the most important person you should listen to, and to do good to the person with you at that time is the most important work for you to do. And we human beings are the supreme creation of God, and we came on this earth to do good to others. So this is the great lesson from this chapter we learnt. The exercise is fully given here, and the explanation is also given, you can see, as I have already shown to you. So while going through the video, you will read these explanations also. The book is also given. You will go through the chapter also, you will go through the explanations also. This much for now. Thank you.